Crocoin is up over 79% in the past 1 year, currently sitting above a key area of support at the 10-cent level. And this comes off the back of a major news week for this altcoin, as we did actually see Crypto.com launch the new rewards loyalty program, which could help drive a ton of value and demand for Crocoin. And after a massive spike in transactions experienced on the Cronos chain, Cronos Labs announced a new Cronos ZK EVM testnet. You can expect to hear about all this and more in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. So I do kind of want to take today's video to do a recap of the news we saw this week for Crocoin, as the past couple of weeks have been very big for this project in terms of the news. And this past week was probably one of the most significant weeks yet in terms of the positive catalyst for both Crypto.com and Crocoin, which is obviously the native token of their platform, the native token of their blockchains. And we're going to get right into it because there's two important things I do want to cover. And we're going to start off with the Crypto.com news first, as they did announce earlier this week that they are introducing their new rewards program. And what this is going to offer is higher earn plus bonuses up to 10% per annum on your staking yield through the crypto earn part of the app, up to 8% cashback in Crypto.com Visa rewards, and up to a 4 times referral booster and trading rebates. So here's their actual webpage announcing the rewards plus program. And for their crypto earn section, they're now offering up to a 10% yield on stablecoins per year, up to 0.5% rebates on every trade. And this is the big one I do want to focus on, first of all, is the 8% cashback in Crow when using the Crypto.com Visa. So first, just a little bit of a basis for how this works. Essentially, from what I understand, they're basing it on a couple of different things. If we actually go ahead and find how do I receive the benefits. So basically what it's based on is a couple of things, which actually includes your trading badge system based on your trading activity and performance, your cumulative Crow rolling balance over a 30-day period. So obviously assuming the more Crow you hold, the higher level you will be, and cumulative spot volume or strike options contracts, which is only available in the United States, just like this Rewards Plus program at the moment. However, I do hope that they kind of roll this out to more regions in the near future, as this could definitely drive a ton of demand for Crocoin. Right off the bat, you can see here that based on the amount of Crow people are holding, actually will have a say in dictating their rank. So if they can actually make the levels and ranks enticing enough for people to consider buying and holding Crow, that would definitely work in the favor of this altcoin. And I do think that these levels are pretty enticing in terms of the rewards they offer. We can see here that at level 5, they're offering up to an additional 0.5% in cashback and also 0.5% in earn plus rewards, as well as a trading rebate and referral rewards. And this goes up to 20. Now, when you actually max out at level 20, that is when you get that up to 8% cashback. And effectively what that means is if you are a holder of any Crypto.com Visa, you may be eligible for getting an additional 3% cashback on your card. And they've actually updated the website to reflect that now. So if you own a Ruby Steel Visa and you actually max out your Crypto.com level, your cashback is increasing from 1% to 4%. The Royal Indigo and Jade Green, you get a boost from 2% up to 5%. The Frosted Rose Gold and Icy White from 3% to 6%. And the Obsidian Black from 5% to 8%, which is why it says up to 8% cashback. But really, regardless of what card tier you have, you can get up to an additional bonus 3% cashback on top of what is already being offered. And you can see here right off the bat that the cashback being offered is by no means shabby at all, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and 5% respectively is a lot more than majority of the visas on the market will actually give you for basically 99% of purchases. And that is actually handed out in Crow, effectively meaning, right, Crow doubled over the past month or so. We were sitting at that 5.5 cent range in mid-October. So over the past 2 months, it's basically 2x'd. And that means, any purchases you made in October and September when Crow was in that 5%, let's say you had the Royal Indigo and Jade Green card, You were getting 2% cash back in Crow. Crow doubled that cash back, is now effectively 4% on those purchases, not 2%. And I think that's definitely something very important about the cashback, is that it is handed out in Crow coin itself. And additionally, you have to buy and lock up a certain amount of Crow to even get this Visa in the first place. And after a 6-month period, if you choose to unstake your Crow, you are also opting to lose all of these, not all these benefits, but a great majority of them, right? You then get no cash back on the lowest 2 tiers, 1% on the second highest tier, and only 2% on the highest tier, as opposed to the 5%. So definitely a Visa program that does incentivize people to not only buy Crow, but to actually keep it locked up for this card. And it is nice to see that they are now focusing on basically trying to get some more people on this Crypto.com Visa, using the Visa through extra incentives. And yeah, it does seem like a win-win for Crypto.com, because it'll encourage more activity on the platform, and it'll also offer them some extra yields for the Visa, for the crypto earn part of the app as well, which could also incentivize people to buy and hold Crow. So we can actually see here as well that for the private members, so for those who have the Frosted Rose Gold and Icy White Visa and up, they also get an additional 2% on their crypto earn rewards distributed in Crow once again. And you can see here some of the yields being offered, right? So USDC is currently sitting at 5.25%. And if you are at max level, that can now be beefed up to 10%. So definitely not too shabby at all. And I do believe that, as the bull market does start to kick off again, as they are seeing trading volume go up, they are definitely looking to acquire as many customers as possible in the early innings of the bull market. And I do think that's very smart for Crypto.com as a business, and that it will have some trickle effects, or it could have some trickle effects into Crow as well, if they do incentivize customers to take a look at their native token. Now, speaking of native token, I do want to also take a look at the blockchains that were created by Crypto.com and different portions of their team, and more specifically, the Cronos chain. So we spoke about this earlier in the week. Cronos saw a massive spike in transactions, and it's actually still going. Last time we covered this spike, we were actually sitting at about 2.7 million transactions per day, and as of Friday, December 15th, that is now up to 5.8 million. Transactions are very slow on the chain at the moment because of this massive spike, and this is actually due to inscriptions. So we've heard about these kind of happening on Bitcoin. They actually drove Arbitrum fees to be more expensive than ETH, which is, kind of ironic, considering the whole point of layer 2s is to make Ethereum cheaper. AVAX has been getting hit with inscriptions. The BNB chain here, you can see, actually had a spike up to 32.6 million transactions. And the point I wanted to make here, right, is that we can take a look at the Binance Smart Chain, and this averages anywhere between like 2 to 3 million normally. Back in June of 2023, we were looking at like 4 to 5 million, and the Cronos chain here actually being at about 5.8 million, or 2.7 million at the time that we kind of saw the blockchain first get congested and slow down. We saw the biggest dexes, the biggest dex, VVS Finance. We saw Fulcrum Finance, the biggest perpetual trading platform, both say that, yeah, the Cronos chain was moving slow, and that's why some transactions were not processing. And the big thing I kind of wanted to initially talk about when I heard this news come out was, if we want the Cronos chain to scale, if we want them to onboard a ton of new users, they need to actually be able to handle the transactions that come with onboarding all these new people. And lucky for the Cronos Labs team, I guess they were working on this before we saw this massive spike regardless, or maybe they kind of saw this coming with inscriptions making their way across a bunch of different chains. But Cronos Labs actually announced the very next day that they are launching a public ZK EVM testnet. So that is E0 Knowledge Ethereum Virtual Machine testnet. And it basically will help Cronos chain become even more scalable. So they're actually working on this with some of the biggest projects here on the Cronos chain: VVS Finance, Fulcrum Finance, and Vano Finance. And Ken Timsit, the managing director of Cronos Labs, states the Cronos ecosystem already includes a top 10 blockchain by TVL. That can be true depending on how you look at it, but I'm going to argue why that's actually not the case in a second. a top 5 Cosmos network by staked amount, a top 30 cryptocurrency, which I guess it was when he did this interview, but it's actually sitting in 32nd at the moment. Anyways, he's basically talking about how they need this zero knowledge EVM for scalability and to onboard the next wave of crypto users. Basically, Cronos is deploying a hyper chain that will be a lot more efficient and will be able to handle more transactions for a cheaper cost, as is the case with, or is supposed to be the case with any layer 2. So it's important to recognize that this is separate from the Cronos EVM blockchain and the Cronos POS chain. This is now the Cronos ZK EVM blockchain, basically using the zero knowledge proofs to help actually roll up a lot of these transactions into one and further scale the transactions per second that are possible. So essentially, think of it as like the sister chain to the main Cronos chain in order to broaden its user base and make it easier to move liquidity back and forth between Ethereum and Cronos. And it's definitely important to tap into Ethereum, in my opinion, as we do actually see here, Ether makes up about 64% of total value locked across all chains. So you definitely do want your chain to be compatible with Ethereum and potentially open yourself up to some of the liquidity here. And I kind of wanted to also talk about Cronos chain as a top 10 chain, okay? Because if we actually go ahead and remove 2 of my filters right now on DeFi Llama, you're going to notice that, yes, Cronos does actually find itself sitting in the top 10 blockchains in terms of TVL. However, it's actually in 11th now as Base has just passed it. However, if we actually go ahead and look at the options, I have staking and liquid staking as basically counting for TVL. And I think that is super important. I think that if you're looking at TVL for any chain, that these staked amounts should definitely be included in the actual TVL, for the simple reason that you're staking these coins to help support the chain on the chain. So why would they not be included in the total value locked? To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And if you look at it like that, you can actually see Cronos finds itself down here in 14th, okay? And I'm just saying that because you know what? I am a fan of the Crypto.com and Crocoin ecosystem. I like the Visa. I do like the Cronos POS chain, which actually does offer a nice 7.5% yield. But the Cronos chain definitely has been pretty stagnant here for majority of the year, kind of just slightly bleeding out the entire year. Started the year at 391 mil in TVL, now sits at 380. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely one thing I would like to see them further scale, and I do hope that, if they launch this new Cronos blockchain, if they are able to kind of onboard the next wave of users onto the Crypto.com app and then make it easy for them to also get involved in the Cronos ecosystem, this could be a very good area of growth for the Crypto.com team and as well for Crocoin, as well as, obviously with Crocoin being the native gas token of the Cronos chain, the more usage we see of that chain, the more demand there is for Cro. Now, I do want to wrap things up taking a look at the charts. And Crocoin here, you can see we've been talking about this 10-cent area. And if you don't know why this 10-cent area is so important, I'm going to zoom out here and have you guys take a look at the log scale. Okay, so we can actually see here, according to the log scale, that 10 cents actually acted as a very strong area of support here before we saw that massive run up to that 95-cent area back in back at the end of the bull market in 2021. And even here in the bear market, we actually saw 10 cents act as a strong area of support until it didn't. And Crocoin finally broke down after testing it a couple of times. And since then, we were really struggling to get back above that level. Didn't even come close to testing it, really. We tried here in early February, got to about 9.5 cents and did not even make our way back up to 10 cents. However, this last move in the altcoin market has kind of given Cro the strength it needed to rally up above that 10-cent level, actually hitting about just over 12 cents at one point. And we started eyeing the chart real close here on that breakout above 10 cents. We noticed that we were actually coming back down below it and actually hitting 10 cents as resistance while also making this nice set of higher lows. And boom, we did actually see the breakout above the 10-cent area once again in early to mid-December. And now it looks like we are just kind of back testing it as support. So if Crocoin is able to hold the 10-cent area, that could definitely make for another very nice move to the upside. obviously assuming that the rest of the crypto market does cooperate and continue with the nice price action. So on that note, let me know in the comments down below, are you a fan of Crocoin? Did you like the news from this week? Did you not like it, and why? I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.